thank you, everyone for taking the time out of your day to listen to these presentations. They have been very informative. Up to this point, they've been pretty technical in nature. We're going to have some technical aspects, but this is really for the acquisition community. So I'm going to talk about addressing acquisition support gaps. This is a paper that Mark Johannes, he's the acquisition guidance subcommittee lead in the FACE consortium, and I'm the BWG chair in the FACE consortium. We put together. This is really the starting point for a program manager's getting started guide, and I'm going to give a little detail on what we mean by that. First of all, obviously, everybody knows that we've received a tremendous amount of guidance centered around MOSA. MOSA is an integrated business and technical strategy. It's not a mistake they gave business kind of top billing because in some of the previous failed open architecture initiatives, that was kind of the downfall. So we put a significant emphasis on the business side. And when the FACE consortium was established, we intentionally set it up to address all 5 principles of MOSA. So what I'm going to talk about today is really the business aspects. I'm going to give you a glimpse in some of the business assets that we have in the FACE contract guide, in the business guide, and this new program manager getting started guide, and really the focus on what we're trying to do to help our acquiring program managers. So just very quickly about me, early work in education, I was a software developer. So I was on the technical side. Kind of mid part of my career, I switched over to helping the government manage programs. I was very fortunate, got involved in the FACE consortium from very near the beginning. Really enjoy that work, the initiatives, the value, and the friendships over the years. I've been primarily supporting the steering committee and the business working group. So I have participated and contributed to a lot of the acquisition documents, over the years. So I really enjoy that, and that is very much in line with the support that I provide to my customer, PEO Aviation, the group there. Okay, so I want to start by talking about major capability acquisition phases. So they don't easily roll off the tongue. Not everybody has these memorized, but here are the 5 phases for major capabilities in the US DoD. So for purposes of this paper, and pretty commonly when we describe things, we have kind of relabeled these to more generic terms. So you'll see we have, the phases of acquisition, strategy development, execution, and sustainment. So this is the terminology that we use in this paper and then some of our other documents. But for those that are interested, this is kind of how it maps to the major capability acquisition phases. So I mentioned before about one of our assets, the business guide. Just earlier this year, we published version 3.1. This is a very mature document. The intended audience for this document is really executives. It's executives on the government side and industry side. It details the FACE approach, why FACE approach brings value to both the government and industries. So I tell a lot of people, if you're new to the FACE consortium, this is a great introductory document to kind of give you a once over the world, make a little bit of a business case, and then you can pivot, based on your role, what you're interested in. If you're an acquisition professional, probably want to go to the contract guide. If you are a software developer, you probably want to go to the getting started guide for developers there. So with it, the nature of it is a marketing informative document. It really helps shape the acquisition strategy development, and it's a valuable resource. But that's kind of its focus. We have another asset, the FACE contract guide. Similarly to the business guide, we published it earlier in the year. It is intended for acquiring program managers and their staffs. It is no kidding how to put face requirements into solicitations. Lots of good language for statement of works, lots of good language if you're interested in, Section L, Section M in RFP. If you're looking for market research, it's got RFI examples and language there and what would go in there. It also covers OTAs, BAAs, and more recently with this latest release, CRADAs. So that is a good asset for acquiring, program managers. But when you look at that focus, it really helps kind of the back end of the acquisition strategy and kind of the early stages of execution. It really sets, the foundation of what requirements go in contract. Well, program managers need a significant bit more support than just these two snapshots. So we came up with an idea of a program manager's getting started guide, and that is in development. And what I'm going to give you today is really a glimpse into the area, some of the content that will be the nucleus. So what Mark and I decided to do, and thanks from a great recommendation from Alicia, is to develop this paper, kind of the framework, how we can provide acquisition support in acquisition strategy development, in execution, and in sustainment. So when we talk about acquisition strategy, a few years ago, the NDAA for FY21, that was really groundbreaking, and it introduced some requirements to PEOs and acquiring program managers that we really hadn't seen before. One of those was requiring the government to specify the government desired modularity. And what does that mean? It means they have to, in their mind, identify the modules, the interfaces, and the data going over those interfaces. It's a great way to convey what the government is thinking, going into the acquisitions. In addition to that, it also that's at the module level. It also put a requirement in for major system components and kind of the evolutionary plan in the acquisition strategy of any major system components that maybe wanted to be introduced or modified or maybe replaced, in the future. So any acquisition professionals or, any, technology, providers that's going to, sell to the DoD, probably need to go take a pretty good look at the NDAA for 21. There's a lot of great information in there. But what we want to do is help the program managers meet these new requirements. And when you look at it, through the face approach and what we provide here, if you look on the technical side, our architectural segments, that helps with modularity. Obviously, our face interfaces that we have defined helps with the interfaces, and then the data models that we have help define the data going over these interfaces. So this helps us provide support to the acquiring program managers to meet these new requirements that were introduced in NDAA of 21 that's reflected in Title 10. Actually, specific section is 4401. That has these requirements in there. So what we want to do is help provide guidance and to identify certain capabilities enabled by software that really should be face conformant or at a minimum aligned to the technical standard. So we have some guidance in there. Obviously the face approach, the consortium, we're focused on reusable software. So we've got some guidance in there. Hey, here's kind of a litmus test. If you have software that's intended to be reused, it is a great candidate for face conformant software. So I won't go into all the details here, but we got a good bit of language in the paper. We'll have even more robust language when we finish the program manager's getting started guide. But it's very important that we set the stage early on in the acquisition strategy that we meet the requirements, we stick to our guns, we utilize the FACE contract guide to get the right requirements moving into execution, put them on contract. So let's move to the next phase. So getting the requirements into the solicitations and ultimately the contracts, that's a great step. That is outstanding that we've done that. Well, I will tell you, the battle is not over. It is very important that program managers are prepared and armed to defend these open architecture requirements during execution. As we all know, many times in execution, there could be reduced budgets, there could be shortened timelines, there could be an urgent need. So most, if not all, requirements are looked at for potential, to be traded. It is very important to arm the acquiring program managers into adequately defending these. Don't take the short-term gains, which could impact, your long-term. And it's been, documented that typically in a typical program, over 70% of the life cycle cost is in sustainment. So these good decisions that we make in the acquisition strategy and defending these requirements in execution really help reduce the total life cycle cost. And what we want to do this is we want to prevent vendor lock, promote competition, and a relatively new term that's been around. I only heard it probably a year or more ago, is give the government freedom of action. And what this really means is allow the government the freedom of action to go and procure from various sources. Maybe not necessarily the OEM or the original developer, but give them the opportunity to go and search for best of breed. And that could be in a capability, that could be in a lead system integrator, many ways there. But one thing that we're seeing there with, these techniques to prevent vendor lock, one of the reasons it is for the government to have that freedom of action. One of the techniques, and it was actually incubated in the FACE consortium, was using an open system management plan as a contract deliverable multiple times in execution. It helps the program managers and their staff keep track of any architectural decisions that may have a negative impact. So I won't go into details, on that here, but that is a resource that the FACE Consortium heavily contributed in, that's out there, and we're very proud that it's recognized and approved for use DoD wide. And one of the issues that we commonly have, these chartered program managers, they have defined tasks that they need to do, limited budgets, limited timelines. So their perspective is focused on that, getting the job done. And a lot of times that doesn't strongly correlate to reuse across the enterprise. So that there needs to be an enterprise level decision-making process to make sure that these chartered, PMs who need to get, their mission done and accomplished, within their schedule and budget, for their decisions to be shaped more at the enterprise level. And we are seeing organizations take steps to help facilitate this. I know PEO Aviation is taking this very seriously, and they've just recently stood up enterprise board of directors that's actually staffed by membership of all the chartered PMs. It's led by leadership, specifically chaired by the chief of staff, to look at these enterprise decisions and help the chartered program managers not only to meet their mission, but also as to benefit the enterprise as a whole. And and the Army is not the only service, not the only government organization doing this. And I know industry has done this for many, many years, but we need to make sure that is considered. Moving on to sustainment, and I've already talked a little bit about the importance, and obviously this timeline, well, it's not a timeline, but this chart is not a timeline. It is definitely not drawn to scale. If it was drawn to scale, sustainment would probably be 75% of the chart. So I apologize, for not having, that, more emphasized, but sustainment is so critically important that we have the right foundation in the acquisition strategy, that we set ourselves up in execution to operate effectively in sustainment. One of the important things when it comes to the FACE approach, if you have a FACE computing environment within sustainment, you have a very powerful tool, because you can use existing FACE conformant products for rapid fielding, rapid integration into your system. So that opens up the potentially the FACE conformant products in the registry. You can go and license for those. You can do other market research, check with industry, check with other government organizations to see what's there. But one thing that we need to make acquiring program managers aware of, even if you don't have a FACE computing environment going into sustainment, you can get one. You can make a decision to create a FACE computing environment, establish that. Could very likely be on a adjunct mission processor, maybe even existing resources you currently have. Could be a smart display that has additional computing resources. Could be on a maybe aircraft survivability equipment that has computing resources. You can set up an adjunct mission processor running a FACE computing environment and open up, be receptive for hosting FACE units of conformance to help you in your obsolescence management that you have there. So this is just a little bit of a teaser, in what we're developing with the Program Managers Getting Started guide. Our plan is to really focus on fleshing this out and having this, ready to enter the publication process and have this published by June of next year. It's a pretty aggressive timeline, and we really need assistance in this. The more contributors that we have from the different perspectives, we need perspectives from large industry primes, from small technology suppliers, program managers across the services, engineers across the services, and it will really help us develop a very robust and mature document that can help these acquiring program managers in these areas that's critically important. Business Guide is a great resource. We believe it's extensively used. Contract Guide is a great resource, but we're trying to leverage those great capabilities, fill in the rest of the gaps to make the acquiring program managers' life easier. So with that, I will open it up for questions, and I do want to show just a kind of a snapshot. We have a wonderful team in the FACE Business Working Group. So I wanted to point some of those folks out. We've got Alex Raday from Sierra Nevada. He's the BWG Vice Chair. Terrific technical background, brings tremendous work ethic, lots of energy into the group. I mentioned Mark Johannes. Mark on the lower left, he was the Acquisition Guidance Subcommittee lead, doing a terrific job there. We do have an opportunity. We had some turnover back about a year ago, and we're looking for a co-lead for that. So anybody really passionate about acquisition would be a great time to jump in as the Acquisition Guidance co-lead and help with the development of this Program Managers Getting Started guide. Conformance Policy Subcommittee, we got Mark Hasmeyer, government civilian, brings a wealth of knowledge, very knowledgeable about the face verification authority, plays a key role. We work together in PEO aviation, plays a key role in a lot of key initiatives there. And similarly, we need a co-lead, in that subcommittee. We've got a lot of great activities going on in there. That's probably, that they have a tremendous amount of updates to do that helps with the conformance program that we have, improving that, keeping that running. And then our outreach subcommittee, we have terrific leadership, of balance between industry and government. We have Rich Janicki and Sally Bixby. They do a terrific job that they have, for years. They've been in this role for only a short period of time, but they've supported that outreach subcommittee. So extremely pleased. I think we've got a great BWG team. Would love, for those interested, please reach out to us. Love for you to contribute to the program managers getting started guide or any of these subcommittees. Okay, Alicia, do we have any questions?